balaa ñoo def dara comme niñ ko baaxoo ñu njëkkee ak ñaan ku nekk ci ni nga mun a ñaanee rek waaw.
Ako ndalta la ñamen jannim be ngobe commencer la se doit momo ila dino la silo la.
Now, thank you very much, everybody, for gracing this occasion. The Deputy Governor, West Coast Region, the team leader, EU Access to Justice, and Uncle Fafambay, and all the alcalos here present. You're all welcome, and thank you for coming. Today is the beginning of the Alcalo Sensitization Workshop. It's a 3-day workshop which is being held here in West Coast Region. Of course, for all of you participants who are all alcalos in your own villages. Without further ado, I will let Shelley, the team leader, have a word or two with you and generally inform you of what to expect in this workshop today.
I am the team leader for the EU Access to Justice and Legal Education project. It is a project funded by the EU for the purpose of helping the people of the Gambia gain access to all of the aspects of the Gambian justice system, especially people who live in rural areas and vulnerable groups. We started this project in 2012 with an analysis. We looked at the Gambian Justice Project and found that it had 3 parts. It has the modern law system with the High Court and the magistrates and the superior courts. It has the Qadi courts, and it also has customary law, which you represent. We found that the customary law in the villages and the districts was the main justice system for the Gambia. The customary law is the most important justice system for the Gambia. It touches more Gambians than any other part of the system. The Gambian people who live very distant from the cities all have access to their local village community leaders and you, the Akalolu. We also found that the Akalolu, that is you, are the people who are the most important actors in the Gambian justice system. You are on the front line. You are where the people are. And the people cannot afford to go to high court, magistrate's court far away. They don't have transportation. They don't have money for lawyers. So therefore, you, the Akalolu, are the primary beneficiaries of today's program. For these 3 days, we hope to deliver to you the best experts in the country.
Na keba ye kumo mendunda wolem senyi tandalla ko nyinketa atol alkaloli ye mantabe mbaleti bayri West Coast region la waro be alkali wili jelle be West Coast wala alkali keme jelle be West Coast but alkali talulu dron wolle tombonta bi kana kanyim mantabe ngosoto. I have served in the position of an alkali for 9 years 7 months. So bari na alkali yakono nene manta bengo soto pour kasi ka foko nyin karang sifa memben demala kanna doko soto sambanya soniande biko imarata mominna ni woyalo nyine nyantanto nyine manyanto nyanta nyine kala manya na nyine kala aya kewo nyama mona mobe futalema mode futalema so wakamala na bosto yala mbal tentula mbal jayla nse wota bake ka nyimmanta bengota ka bengo nyinda yala ato yala ala baraka
alkali legi manon mbiri adalon
ko alkalo akon na ada ko tollum de
waaye léegi
ako sayin
amatul lu aada de
amda banque aɗo tude
2002
ako 2002
fukki at ak ñeent ci gannaaw
ako sanji tang anin nani komanto
nguur gi dafa taxawal benn loi
man sakunda e loi bunda ɗo londi
tudde ko local government act
e ka fo ya local government act
wax nañ ci mbiri alkaali bu baax
e o fana e alkalo la ko foje baaki
ne léegi liggéey alkaali
e ko alkalo la do ko
du rek njëfi cosaan
we really learned a lot and it definitely make us so improve to our talents concerning about the alkalosip. Before coming to this workshop, I realized that some of the alkalos, maybe they think that the way how they are operating their alkalosip is the right way. But the time at the end of the workshop, we come to realize that definitely there are certain procedures that alkalos are doing. Really, we come to understand that those, procedures are definitely not accurate.
Definitely. Today, I learned a lot. It increased my work and it make my work easy because they sensitized me how to handle my stamp, which is very, very important. According to them, this stamp can cause disaster, and definitely this is what is happening.
Nanyimbe ngoto nga fahamro soto bakele komi nga fanya memurna kan bare mbenna lecturer fenkela me ya marla fana ni murta koma fana mine bula nyin kuwala ye wolno maka minube koma fana hannin nga ya marodi bare minube koma fala na siten e fana ya moy tulola ni ya moy tulola wala be gena fenkela bake na do ko nyo se sonia nalo wato man aman jam fade bare nga fahamro mi soto nga sita ka min tamandi say be ngalom bakele be min tamandi lan
mata la fanna minna musol la karo bayta nene ya foja ko musolu dindingol la karo nga dindingol de ma min keta nyi nyaka to ta karol dindingol la karo alkalol tolle be sateto nkana musol tuje ya dindingol samba sunno to min se kela tora koti ntebe o dandalaro dila bake na alkalol na maralo kono bayta mansako ngo kuwa bula woto nin tol seta yato ba nga karanja nyanta kala kuleti mi ya lonko nga mansa sembentu yawo kuwala andu womun tolla kuleti mi ya lonko asenna sama sambano
nte ka tambi ka fo ñaato ka fituno bang satelu kono say ni na tante commande ja kano karango ka kutandi am fe kan so londo la me ya lon ko sinta nya lon nyata tamala nyame ako kontanu mbulu fa tambita
ko ludan kam do simi yahi mi holla dum min jogi mawbe kono ko heddi ko bibbe e miñirabe simi yahi mi halna be fof kala ko min kebi gay jongandema gese ɗe ha he rewɓe ɓe ha he ɓiɓɓe ɓe ha he waɗiraɓe ɓe fof no kulleɗe ɗe potta yaaru ha hakkude amen he laamu ɗum kadi jaam wona hen ɗum ɗon fof mi haalnet ɓe
nin londo min aliya soto jay mo be beng elar arjal tegela kiti kete tekela jam ko tek ko fengo fennata al bamu tan wala woto hani bi mbe dandla ye ferol landi ntol fanam be lalal tol ka nyamen fale londol men soto nga frande alkal to mama almeta siring kabrin til sabal be siring jang albe londo dro nanyinen ka alhamdulillah yo londo soto bal tentula mba jayla albatata be kumodan na janne
niaji al yala do ko bebula al nata sate wala interest lo ani banko la nafa tili saba al be wala kala ja nyin tili sabo dum akuma yata bakele nyin tili sabo ñin si sanji keme sone andi mebulu because ni sate ko no tenkunta doron kayro sota sate ko no doron ni sefo ela akasinole adu ni sefo sinota doron kuma nango fana be si bare ni sate o man tenku lolu ndiamu mesen ndemu kiti ko sefo nyanta do ku dol kela ata kenola kuma nango nyanta do ku dol kela ata kenola sakato ma alkalodo to ngal dani al saki ala nyin kilaye ñinu wultale ye ngani ya kendo soto ye londo men soto mararo kenyala iko inatale ka dialla.
Actually, I must commend the project for exposing the skills and knowledge of particularly local alcalos in access to justice. Because this training has clearly outlined the different laws in the Gambia that are linked to people accessing justice. And as local authorities that deal with primary justice, I think it was very incumbent that my colleague alcalos were lucky through the project to clearly differentiate the different laws in the Gambia. According to the facilitators or the lecturers, they have definitely equipped us with these different cadres in the law. That is, we know through the training, the constitution is there, you have the customary law, you have the Sharia, name them. So as a mediator in a village or as an alcalo, your mandates will be clearly, you'll be clearly abreast with the mandates, where you can stop, what you can take care of, and what you cannot take care of, and where, in the event that you cannot take care, where you can always forward these issues.
3 days training program. It was a very hectic one, but very useful. It has taught me and my fellow alcalos how to administer at our village levels, which would really help us in the day-to-day running of our village.
Ngalundo men soto nyinti saba karanto jang akete mulon de me yano mammen lon kunu ngalum bi ngalundo soto me yano ko asin samba no nsalon ni mol betambele silo men na sate mon fanan ni ntata nyanta ngeki di ngafoe komi ngamen karanja membe badi ya sabatin dilantema anin na sinyo ya sibeteya asatari nsikara munya nyongi anin tata nsimol sindi ngawo foe ja kuwo kundi na boyta jannim beta police ndam ya fo sate wonto nga bang wala be badi ya sabatin dino lantema asata jutun na yate nala.
This training is very, very important in 2 main ways. One, it will help in modernizing the office of the alcalo in this country, to help in the dispensation of justice, and 2 is to reduce the pressure on the courts and the judiciary system in this country. And that way we'll be able to reduce the economic burden of the justice system and the country if it works well. So I hope the alcalo and all the participants in this workshop will make very good use of this opportunity, the skills and the knowledge that are learned, and translate into the actions in their villages and communities. And the alcalo who have not been trained, they could share the information with them, and the training be also extended to those people.
At the start, I benefited a lot personally. And my colleague alcalos, I think, according to the assessment of the training, we really gained a lot within these 3 days. And quite candidly, I think the project, as the trainers were explaining, it was a tailored project. That the project was supposed to be doing things, but I think there is still room, or EU should be we should appeal to EU that some of these alcalos are local people. They cannot read, they cannot write, and we are fortunate that we got a handbook, but it's in English. And these alcalos, the illiterate ones, should definitely, be more equipped, either through continuous sensitization, because the moment they know some of these customary laws, or the customary law, the more they are equipped with a big volume, it will ease up the tensions in our villages.
Ate keno la ya doko ya balindi wala sembote men nola.
Ay korda wafi bojanne ma me alon ko be siri angalte.
Angandolo mu group wanti.
ne Allah ma kontante
ala kontano kamma
pour ma ubbi meeting bi ni
pura bitu nyimbe
fi si janjambure te jere ngeen jëf wassalam
ñing training men tili saba training men nga soto jang akuma yata baka na fa wartantul alkalol fi baka ka to ay na londo ka fu bakele to nyam man ko dol lon num bi ñin tili sabo ko ngol faham bakele fenno me yalon ka akuma yata andu ni ñon ka siya dal abe alkalol la londo yirwa andilal don tari
the alkalolu have learned a lot in areas that concern them most, particularly land disputes, marriages and inheritance. And it has been made very clear to them that they are not judges, they cannot decide on cases in their villages. All that they can do is to go by this tradition, alternative dispute resolution. When there is a problem in a village, they call the elders of the village together, they sit together and see how best they can resolve those problems. And I'm sure from what I have heard them say during their deliberations, they have learned a lot, and I'm sure they will, when they go back home, they will be able to solve, if not all, most of the problems. I expect them to share the information with the rest of the alcalos that we are not privy to attend this workshop. Like if they meet at Lumos or at naming ceremonies, they can tell them what they have learned here, and when they go back, let them go and report to their chiefs and tell them what they have learned here, so that the chiefs can convene the authority meetings and they report back to the other alcalos who are not able to attend. In fact, I am going to write to the chiefs and ask them to call up district authority meetings so that those alcalos that were fortunate to attend this workshop can report back to the rest of the alcalos what they have learned during these 3 days. And it is of benefit to not only to them, but the entire region and the rest of the villages that were not able to be present.
Okay, among Kaiti Samba.
We've seen is
ketan na kontanoti anin ala tento ka bengo dayele akuma sta kaira ala mala ya timmande kairal kila fa hormo kamala qur'an na thank you Nen. Thank you. Actually, knowledge is important everywhere, especially with administrators. As an alcalo, this is the first level of governance at the public level, where disputes are resolved. So it is therefore necessary that the fundamentals of the law, the basics of law, are understood by all of them. And it is only through packages like this that you can make the basics known to them.
This training has given me a lot of knowledge as to how to solve these problems. In fact, it has taken me from down, let us say, if I was at number 2, but now it has taken me almost very far, It has taken me very far. Definitely now I know definitely I can execute my duties. I am very confident.
My message to the facilitators is that let the relationship continue. For all the efforts that were done, let the contacts continue, and let my appeal be further strengthened by taking it to the people who matter, by including it, incorporating it in their report, so that those who had provided the funding would certainly know that the training is of benefit. It is worth the amount of resource put there, or even more, so that they can bring us another phase. My message to the government is, one, to thank them, and two, to do everything possible to ensure that there is continuity in the necessary climate, because government primarily is responsible for creating the necessary environment for development like this to continue. So my my message to the government would be, let everything be done so that there is continuity of the peace, progress, and stability which is already being enjoyed by the Gambia people, and anybody resident in the Gambia for that matter.
Yemen mira kuwo kono men si kayro nati tema
moyne nenje ka yedda alkali
iko si alkalo diamo ni folo
won kone
kaytana la ko
yow de warunga gestu nga xam lan moy sa warugar
inyanta lonna le mem mula do ko ti ñun ko
sa tampe balanga ko def
inyanta la ni la inyanta la ila tampo inyanta la deme inyanta wolonna le
ñaarel bi
fula ñaw
ñu ne bori
iko ko woto bori
si bopa
bori fango
waru ton muk
amanyana sonna
mo moy joxe kër gi
abe keno dila
gannaaw mo famille am ñoko bokka
bawa ni la family mule tamu
te togut ak famille am
adu ani ila mol man ila sukonon kol man si
tidi xamne magam kat mu ngi ci problème
sidi yalla no ka ak koto wo dunda problème ko
dugana ci ñaari mbir
ka do dunda ku fula ko no
dugana ci tapale
ay tapale yake
be pare
ko kola
ñëw na mu réeral borom dëkk bi su boobaa xëy na Sidi dina ko dimbale
pour ñing kama Sidi sa ma koy
nangoo bàyyi place bi Bojang continuer pour liggéey la moo liggéey
place Sidi sa ma ka suñu dula bula
lii lañ xelaat
ñene mira
we realize also that they do a lot of settling of dispute resolution, and so we wanted to get them together. The workshop during the past 3 days has been very interactive. We've designed it, Uncle Fafa and myself, to be very interactive. We have developed case studies, example of cases, and we divided into 3 groups, you saw yesterday and today. After we have done presentations on the relevant topics, we selected and assigned each group a case study to discuss, and then identify one. They will nominate somebody to go and do the presentation, and each group presented very well. They were able to identify most of the issues involved in that case study. Did the evaluation before we started, and we did it at the end. We asked them to rate themselves, how much they would give themselves between 1 and 10. And we saw that even that earlier figure had changed today. So I did another evaluation today to say, okay, you had given us a figure in the beginning. Now, forget that figure and give us a figure where you started at the beginning of the workshop. And many people were frank enough to say, well, I'm afraid. One man said, I was at 0. I had no knowledge about most of what you taught me. And he was very truthful. And many 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 the most, 6, a few 7, 8, but and they will tell you where they are now, and they have given their testimony to the value of the workshop and how it will better help them. And they have promised to go back and disseminate amongst the other alcalos who didn't get to come and amongst the communities. And we identified a lot of good practices, especially when I was presenting on the land law, good practice to help them do their job better, to avoid the problems. Alcalo and land, enormous amount of problems in the courts. And they admitted all of that. And they also admitted that most of it begins with them when they fail and give transfers to 2, 3 other people without checking. And so we shared ideas and best practices, keeping good, safe keeping of that stamp.
We have now successfully come to the end of the Alkalolu training sensitization workshop in all the 5 regions of the Gambia. There are 1,810 Alkalolu in the 5 regions of the Gambia. And we made a selection of 50 in every region. We've done it in Birkama, West Coast region, Mansa Konko, Lower River region, Basse, Upper River region, Janjambure, Central River region, and now this is the last region here in Kerewan, North Bank region. It has been very successful. The Alkalolu came in full force and participated effectively, and we are very grateful that we think our mission has succeeded. We think the demand made that the training should be extended to all the Alkalolu in the country is significant in that it tells us that the training has been successful. The governors in all the regions have participated. They did the opening statement and also gave the closing ceremony in which we handed the handbook that have been done for this training workshop. We are very pleased and we are very grateful to IROCNA who are implementing the project funded by the EU with the participation of the Gambia government. We think that this is the beginning of a new phase in the sensitization of Alkalolu in the Gambia. And we are very pleased that we have participated effectively in this program. Thank you very much.